Right. So today I'm going to be talking about this achievement from Slay the Spire, which I think is probably the most infamous achievement in this game. It's not the one with the lowest attainment rate, nor is it necessarily the most difficult, but it's an achievement that's notorious for being basically just entirely RNG, right? There are other achievements like Minimalist, which do require a bit of RNG, but there are things you can do to make it more likely for yourself. And I even recorded a video on, you know, good ways to get Minimalist done in a small amount of time. But this achievement requires so many different things to go your way that it has caused a lot of people a lot of grief. And if you don't believe me, just Google the name of this achievement and Slay the Spire, and then just look at the Reddit comments, and you'll see what I mean. A lot of people are having a bit of a hard time, and so did I. And so did I. But one good thing that came out of it was I had a lot of fun making the thumbnail for this video. I'm very proud of this. I thought it came out. I thought it came out really well, and I didn't even use AI that much. The only thing I used AI for was the text, and then the actual Donu graphic. That was just good old Photoshop. Anyway, so in this episode, I'm gonna be mainly the thing I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be doing post commentary over a over the run where I got this achievement. It's going to be a very long run because it's that's how Slay the Spire runs can sometimes get. But before that, I'll be talking a little bit about this achievement, just a little bit, and then I'll be showing you some of my failed attempts, which caused me a lot of grief at the time. But hopefully, looking back at them now, we can find some joy and some amusement out of it. Right. So, why is this achievement so tricky and so difficult to get? Well, to understand that, we have to go back into the realm of probability. Now, I talked about this a little bit when I was doing the video on how to get the minimalist achievement. Is that you got to think in probabilistic terms, and you got to understand what the main bottleneck is. For that one, it was card removals. You got to think in similar terms for this achievement, right? So we're gonna bring back the uh, the good old probability equation, except this one's slightly different. So for the minimalist one, there were just two events, A and B. Event A was you got to remove enough cards. Event B was you got to find some way to win the run. In this case, and this is what makes this achievement so difficult, is that three different things have to happen all at the same time. And for all of these different events, you'll have to multiply their probabilities together, and then that final result will be the probability that you will succeed in getting this achievement. So, what are these events? Well, event A is you just gotta find feed, right? Which is easier said than done. You would think it's easy, right? You just gotta find one card. That's the only card that's required to be in your deck for this. But let's take a look at this card. You see, notice the coloring. Notice the yellow, golden, whatever the color is. Notice the ribbon, or the banner or whatever on top of the card. That denotes that this is a rare card, which means you're gonna have plenty of runs where this card just never shows up, right? So The first thing that's gonna happen is you gotta find this card. I don't know what the probability is of finding a specific card. I'm not even gonna try and estimate it. But I do feel like for me it showed up less than half the time. So there's that. Event B, you gotta find Donu and Deka because even if you do find feed, when you get to floor 3 or act 3, you'll fight one of three bosses. It's gonna be the Awakened one, or it's gonna be the Time Eater, or it's gonna be Donu and Deka. And let's assume it's a, you know, straight 1/3 chance of each of them, which I think is a fair assumption. So you gotta find feed, and then this other thing has to happen, which we're already stating. It's less than. It's more likely that you won't find Donu and Deka than you will find them, right? It's only a 1 in 3 chance. But even if both of these things happen, there's a third thing that needs to happen, and that is event C, which is then you show up to Donu and Deka with feed. You don't automatically just get the achievement because you have to kill Donu with feed, which means the fight has to go in a very specific way, which means you have to survive long enough to bring Donu's health down to the point where you can kill him with feed without dying, and then you have to also, depending on how large your deck is, whether or not you have Runic Pyramid, feed then has to be in your hand at the exact right moment. And it is entirely possible that you will just die before this happens. You will just, the fight will just end. And you'll feel sad. So this is the reason why this achievement causes so many people so much grief, is that these three things need to happen, and each of these three things individually, I think, is probably less than 50% likely. And then if you even if we assume that it's, if we're being generous and being like all of them have a 50% chance of being true, by the end of it, it's a 1 in 8 chance, which is like 12.5%, which is pretty low, and not just low, but you have to play for quite a while before you even discover that your run has failed. So that's the other thing that causes a lot of people a lot of frustration, is that it wastes a lot of their time as well. Because if you could find out within the first couple minutes, right, that your run was gonna fail because Donu and Deka didn't show up, you would just say, okay, let me just end this run right now. If you could know ahead of time that you weren't gonna be able to kill Donu and Deka because your build just wasn't good enough, or because the cards that were going to be drawn weren't going to be good enough, then you just end early. But no, you've got to go very, very deep into the game before you'll eventually discover that, oh, this was a failed run and it was doomed from the start, but I had to waste 40 minutes to discover that fact, right? So that's, if you haven't got this achievement and if you're trying to get it, just be forewarned. It's gonna be it's gonna be a bit of a process, a bit of a process. Now, I said we'd start out by looking at some of my failed runs, and that is exactly what we will do. We're going to be looking at 3 runs where I found feed, but where well, let's just go through these and see what happens. So I'm fighting the champ, the Act 2 boss. You can see not only do I have feed in my hand, but I kill him with feed. Glorious, glorious fight. We have a small moment of catharsis at the end of the fight, being like, "Ooh, that was good." I uh, am offered Impervious, and I'm thinking, okay, should I take it? Will this be useful in the Donu and Deca fight? I think eventually I decide that I am gonna take this card because it's a decent card. It can save you a lot of damage, and then it can just exhaust itself if you really don't want it. And then we gotta look at the relics. I'm like, okay, do I take the Black Star? Definitely not Snecko. Or do I make my elite my boss fight easier? And I take that, and then immediately I'm like, oh, well, that was 40 minutes down the drain. And I scroll back up. I'm like, maybe I looked at it wrong, but there's no way you can, right? That's obviously not Donu and Deca, right? So that's done. And here's attempt number 2. This was the most painful because I have the double drop kick, I have spot weakness, I have limit break, I even have whirlwind. This is at the end, after the end of the Act 2 boss fight. I take my relic and I go and oh look at that. Oh, it's not him. This would have been such an easy fight, but it just didn't happen. And here is attempt number 3. Again with the champ in Act 2. Again, decent deck. I do have spot weakness. And I kill him again with feed. And I'm thinking, okay, what should I take? I can take Exhume, then maybe I can play Feed twice. I can take Offering, that's just a good card to have. You see my deck, I've got a bunch of flexes. Infernal Blade is interesting, you know, it's an okay one. And then we take a look at our relic rewards. And I'm thinking, okay, I probably have most of the cards that I need. I've got one dropkick, but we can make it work. So if I take the crown and just take more energy, that's one way to play. Or I could get some relics, or I could even take the other thing. I spend a lot of time thinking. I'm like, okay, let's fight Donu and Deca. Except it's Time Eater again. Again, I scroll up. I'm like. At that point, I'm like delirious, hoping against hope that it's gonna be that I looked at it wrong, but no, I did not look at it wrong. It was just another 40 minutes down the drain, and yeah. So that was some of my failed attempts. And by the way, those weren't the only 3 attempts that I did. And those were just the attempts where I found feed, right? I did a whole hell of a lot more attempts than that, which I think my system was that if I get to the end of Act 1 and I haven't even found a useful card and I haven't even found feed, I'll just restart the run. And so I had probably like 5 or 6 runs that I just ended that way. So anyway, so now there's only one thing left to do, and that is we gotta go through the run. The run. Oh, this is hilarious. So my controller was the stick on my controller was messing up a little bit, so I accidentally selected the silent. I'm trying to select the ironclad, so I accidentally selected the character to the right, and then I go back and I accidentally select the character to the left. So not an auspicious start if I'm struggling so hard to even select the right character from the menu screen. So having selected it, I try to go for the rare card. It's not feed, and it's not a card that I even want. So I immediately just end that run. Maybe I could have done something with it. I'm like, you know what, let's not even try that, because I like Niao's Lament. Because I just like to get through the first 3 fights quickly, just to see if something useful is gonna pop out of those fights. So I pick my path, and I go nothing useful in that first fight. Card removals are Nice. Well, I first try for a card transformation. I'm like, maybe I'll get lucky, but I don't really want anger, so instead I'll just remove a strike. Okay. I think I removed a strike because I was maybe wanting to go for a like a body slam build, and then I take ceramic fish, which is fine, I guess. Take out these guys, and clash is sometimes good, but you know, it's hard to make it work, so I opt not to take it. And now, removing a defend from my deck, and we're taking out an elite with Niao's Blessing, Niao's Lament active, which means this elite goes down with no trouble at all, starting at only 1 health. Frozen egg is whatever. I mean, sure, I'll take it, I guess. And now we gotta make our way through. Obviously, let's see what I did here. I mean, this is an easy fight, but let's see what cards we got after that. None of these are exciting to me, I don't think. Although I'm spending a lot of time before making what, in retrospect, I'm like, should have been a pretty easy decision. Upgrading Bash is good, gives you more value out of that. The boot is okay. Although it really depends on what sort of build you have. It's much better on builds where you do a lot of low damage hits. I hate fighting these guys because you almost never have a good multi target setup by the time they show up. It just always feels so annoying. There's like 5 of them. They almost always end up doing a really annoying amount of damage to me. I can't kill them easily, I can't block their damage easily, so it's just a whole ordeal, and I restart this fight because I'm not happy with how I played it. I'm not sure what I'm even gonna do differently. So I killed this guy, and then I think that I did mess up because I didn't even play all my cards. So I killed this guy, and then I do my shield. Then I take that guy out. Oh, I think it's because I realized I had the boot. So even though they made me weak, I'm still able to do 5 damage, and I'm able to kill the guys who have 10 health in 2 turns. And now I killed the guy. The irons, the metallic slime, I think that's what they're called. They got the back, and I think they just try and attack you every turn, whereas these other guys will occasionally debuff you. Right. And finally, it's those guys dead, and I guess I didn't take anything there. Dropkick and Inflame are both really good, so I immediately pick up Dropkick, and then Lee's Waffle is an idea, but I think it's probably got to be Inflame, right? Or a card removal? I look at the boss, I'm like, okay, we're fighting Slime Boss, and then what do I even do? I remove a strike from my deck. Oh, because I know I have enough money to buy Inflame. Surely I buy Inflame, right? Right? Or what am I doing? That was a long time that I spent again for what should have been an easy decision. Right. Now, against this guy, I'm like, okay, I'll make you vulnerable and then I'll just block your damage, because then with the dropkick, wait, what? Hang on, did no, okay, so now he's vulnerable and now he's dead. I don't know. I wasn't really paying attention to what moves I was playing. I guess maybe he was vulnerable. Right. So early inflame is nice, and then I think you should just skip this turn until you can apply bash, and then with the vulnerability you can do some good stuff. With drop kick, you can also do some good stuff. And then I didn't play my defend. I guess I just didn't notice. That's a bit of a blunder. Now I do play my defend, but that was some extra damage that I shouldn't really have taken. Alright, Red Skull is actually pretty decent. Shrug It Off is not a bad card, but I guess I want a bit of a focused deck. We upgrade our dropkick. Alright. Decent choice. Early Inflame is great. I guess we just gotta dropkick you. That's the most damage that we can do. And you know, we get trash added to our deck, but that's just how this fight goes. And now he's trying to slime crush us, and this is just horrible, because all we drew was his slime garbage, and we take a huge hit. But I think now we can interrupt this guy. In fact, he is already interrupted. We get a bit of energy back. So obviously, we should do something... I'm looking at my potions, be like, what helps me? We got him down to 30 health, though. Or 24 health. So that is a very decent split, and we are doing more damage because of Red Skull and the fact that we have less than half health. Immediately interrupt that guy, and even though it was scary because we got hit by his slime crush, at the end of it, we did okay. And no feed, but Limit Break is a really nice card to have. So let's see what happens. Let's see how long I take to make that obvious decision. Alright. So we don't want Snecko, and I don't want to take the crown because we still need lots of different cards. But upgrading the Limit Break is a pretty good idea. And it is the Collector as our Act 2 boss. So we got that to look forward to, and we have a good amount of money, so shops are interesting. So let's see what happened on this floor. Again, good early dropkick. Limit Break we drew before it was useful to us, so that kind of sucks. Oh yeah, and this guy has debuff resistance, which is why our dropkick didn't do anything. And then okay, I'll just attack you twice. I'll take all of the damage just so I can kill you quickly. Again, Limit Break. Well, I guess we do have our strength now. At this point, I'm like, that's too much damage. I'll use my block potion. And now we can make you... Well, the obvious thing is to make him vulnerable and then to bash, right? But I'm thinking, is there a way to kill him? And I guess that's what I did. Alright, makes sense, I guess. And a second dropkick is huge. It's tremendous. We got a lizard tail would be so nice. I don't have enough money for it though. I've got a two drop kicks, and at this point just take a strike out of my deck. Really sad that we weren't able to buy lizard tail. And I'm actually thinking about deep breath because I'm like, is that worth doing? Or am I gonna not be able to understand how that mechanic actually works and then completely botch it in the heat of the moment? And again, Limit Break showed up before Inflame, so a bit of a waste. So all we really can do is dropkick you and then defend. And then I guess I'm not happy with what I did. I'm like, what am I not happy about? Oh, okay, I guess I'm like, let's defend twice and then not take any damage. There, that's better, I guess. So we inflame and then we bash. And now we're dazed. Dropkick is great, but before you play dropkick, you gotta play limit break. What am I? Am I doing it like this because I don't want the... I guess I don't want the dazes to be put in my deck. So maybe there is some method to the madness here. At this point, I'm like, okay, surely you play limit break now, then you can kill. Yeah, okay. I have to say, I'm impressed with how I played that combat. And I think you gotta get rid of one of these potions and bring that vulnerability potion. Alright. There's still no feed, by the way. I'll remind you, no feed. You have a pretty good chance of getting feed from the first two bosses you fight because they give rare cards as their reward. You have an elevated chance of getting feed from elite fights, but not guaranteed. Usually I feel like I just get uncommon cards and not rare cards. Right, so I think you got a limit break. And at this point I realized that they are debuff resistant, so bash isn't gonna help. I'm like, okay, we'll soak up a bit of damage on turn 1. And we will limit break again. Drop kick. Drop kick. And I was like, I'll take the metallicize. Ooh, I'm actually restarting the fight. I guess I think I can do this better somehow. So I'm like, okay, I think my reasoning was, I was like, if I'm gonna take the metallicize, let me just take it at the start of combat and save myself even more damage. Right, I guess there is some logic to that. Alright. Quite a bit of damage that's being taken. And this guy has so much armor, it's kind of obscene. Blocking that damage though. And to 20... 20 damage that he was doing. That was a lot of damage that we took. I wasn't happy with how that went. And I think about taking Warcry. Do I take it? Headbutt is an interesting idea as well. Iron Wave for block and damage. Not a not a bad card, but it's more for like block builds, I think. So I think I don't take any of those cards. But against these guys, Early Inflame is kind of great. But then I'm like, who should I make vulnerable? So I opt to do it on the back rank. So now we draw both of our drop kicks, and this is just great. So I do that, and I'm like, okay, I can drop kick her, but if I drop kick the guy in front, oh, okay, I guess I can just kill her. You know what? I think I played that pretty well. I think I played that pretty well. So I'm like, if we limit break and we hit you twice. Oh, but I don't have a second attack. And I'm like, okay, I guess I'm just eating all of this damage. There was probably a better way to play this fight, but I did it that way. Now, Inflame and Limit Break on turn 1 is nice. At this point, I think we just need more energy, right? We just don't have enough energy to play our stuff. We're too dependent on making people vulnerable. So we take a small amount of damage, turn 1. So I'm like, how do I do this? So I think the way you do it is you make the guy in the back vulnerable, drop kick him, gotta drop kick him again, and then just use a regular attack on the guy in front and hopefully kill. I guess we don't have enough to kill, so maybe I miscalculated. Or, you know what, I'll just defend and then block most of this damage. And then you gotta limit break. Because if you're lucky, and you are lucky, then you can just kill him before anything else happens. So that was a decent fight. Decent fight. Mango is actually pretty decent. Demon form is a trap. Don't take it. There's probably specific builds, maybe with like the Snecko build, like you just grab a bunch of 3-cost cards and then you just take Snecko Eye. But like Demon form, I don't think I would take it in any of my Ironclad runs. Alright, so got Inflame, and then you could dropkick, but I think maybe you should even just play both your defense. But you also gotta take the Taskmaster out as quickly as you can, because he's gonna be putting trash in your deck. And our health is actually looking kinda rough. And like, I really hope I draw a dropkick, and I did not draw a dropkick. And maybe I should have used Limit Break, but I'm like, I need to get that guy just gone. And the guy in the back is gonna be trying to debuff me, preventing me from attacking for 1 turn. Maybe I should have focused on him, but instead I focused on the guy that's doing damage to me. And now he's dead. And so now the next turn we're not going to be able to attack, but we will be able to do things like Limit Break. And we'll just block most of his damage, getting really low on health though. So this is not going great, but now we can bash. And you got a drop kick and he's dead. We get a little bit of health back. Mummified Hand is decent because we do have a power in our deck. Cultist Potion is also decent. But ultimately, I guess I decide not to take it because we have other ways of gaining strength. Pummel actually isn't bad, but you also gotta think about your deck size. So that's also a concern. And meat on the bone is actually pretty good because it helps you get some health back. And at this point, I'm so worried about my run. I'm like, I just gotta rest. Otherwise, we're kind of just. It's kind of just over before it even starts. Alright. So, early on, all you really can do is just... when he's not attacking you, just do as much damage as you can. His malleable is really annoying. And he's trying to do 21 damage. Which is kind of horrible. We do gain the strength because of Red Skull though. So that makes Limit Break a very exciting prospect. And I think now you're starting to see that we can ramp up our strength pretty well. And Thunderclap is huge. Because it allows us to put vulnerable on all enemies. This is just a great first turn. I don't... Why did I play the Limit Break? I think I played the Limit Break so that maybe I would draw it earlier next turn. Maybe that was my reasoning. So 2 wounds. I think every time he deals health damage to you, you get 2 wounds in your deck. Now we do get Inflame, but you gotta dropkick first, and then you Inflame. Even though you're taking a big hit, but like saving 5 damage versus killing him more quickly, I think that's gotta be the play. So again, we're low on health, and taking another scary amount of damage. Thunderclap. To keep him vulnerable, a little bit more damage. And he's pretty low on health as well. 3 more wounds is very frightening. But double dropkick is even better. And we get a little bit more healing over time with Blood Vial, right? I'm okay with that. And Rage is actually decent, and I take Rage. Maybe I shouldn't have taken Rage because it's like diluting our deck, and it doesn't always work. It depends on what else you've drawn. But I was like, okay, let's try and make Rage work. Right? We gotta see what we can do. And against these guys, I actually use my potions. And I don't like any of these, but I think Metallicize is probably the most useful. Helps us avoid a bit of damage every turn. And that makes Bash... I think I didn't realize that Bash was free that turn because of the power we played. So that was a pretty horrible misplay. The things you notice when you watch your old footage back. Oh no. Yeah, there's lots of these little interactions in the game where it's so easy to forget about them. So I'm like, how do we do this? Because what we can do is we can bash, and then dropkick and kill you, and then draw again, and then dropkick and kill the person in the back. That was actually probably luckier than we deserve to be, and a good shop. And like second Inflame is interesting, Ghostly Armor is interesting, card removals are interesting, even the Strike Dummy is interesting. I was like, ultimately, you know, the potions are also Something I'm always intrigued by whenever you have potion spots. Like, okay, what do we remove from our deck that we don't need? And maybe you just get rid of strikes. Or maybe I should have kept my strikes and gotten rid of my defense because I did have rage. And it would have made rage a little bit better. But not by that much, though. But I guess given if you're gaining strength, you probably should just keep as many attacks as you can. And at this point, I'm like, well, you gotta upgrade something, right? Or do you just rest? I'm like, okay, against this guy, I should be pretty confident that we can kill him. So upgrading dropkick is... Never mind. I guess I wasn't confident, and I opted to just rest instead. Dropkick is great. Another dropkick is great. Would have been awesome to draw Inflame, but it just didn't show up. Now it does show up. So I'm like, how do we do this? So I can Inflame and Limit Break, which is a good idea. And Limit Break becomes free. That means we can now bash. I was like, who do I bash? Let me bash the guy in the back, because he's the one we need to kill. And so maybe we can focus him down. A dropkick is wonderful. But let's start with a nice little thunderclap. Or let's just dropkick, right? Let's not be that adventurous. Or maybe I do thunderclap. A lot of this is like, I guess it's not obvious what you do in this situation. Ooh, and I do draw another dropkick, and I do kill that one guy, and I draw another dropkick there. And for a moment there, it almost felt like we were infinite. And like, I could bash the guy in the back, but let's just take out the guys in front, because they will do a lot of damage if you let them. So Limit Break is an obvious choice. And then you gotta dropkick. Thunderclap is good just to put more vulnerable on him, but let's see what else we can draw. And we don't draw anything great, so you just gotta Thunderclap and do a regular strike. And just like that, he is pretty low in health. But he puts a whole bunch of debuffs on us. He makes us frail, he reduces our block, and no, he makes us vulnerable, which increases our damage. He makes us frail, which reduces our block, and he makes us weakened, which reduces our damage. This is a pretty bad hit that we're about to take. He is going to be vulnerable for a while though, so I opt not to bash. And he's dead. And we got pretty low, but in the end... Did I need to heal? I probably did need to heal. I didn't check. But it would have been really scary if I hadn't healed. Now, I'm like, okay, Fusion Hammer is an idea. Because most of our important things are already upgraded. The second dropkick would be nice. Slave's Collar is nice, assuming we get Donu and Deka. No feed, by the way, in case you didn't notice. But we do have Donu and Deka. So I'm like, okay. I had 3 runs in a row. Well, the 3 times I found feed, Donu and Deka just didn't show up. And I was like, okay, of course, the first time I find Donu and Deka, there's gonna be no feed. That's just how this is gonna go. I'm like, I might as well try, right? Maybe feed's gonna show up in one of these random fights. We'll see. We'll see. So Thunderclap is free, not that it helped us that much. Dropkicks are great. But Limit Break is also great. And with Fusion Hammer, we get essentially free energy, but we cannot upgrade cards at rest sites. There are other ways to get card upgrades from events, but generally you would only take Fusion Hammer if you were sure you were okay with not upgrading any, like, all of the remaining unupgraded cards that you're currently holding. Oh yeah, I was gonna say I forgot to mute my mic because honestly I was convinced that this wasn't even gonna be footage that I would ever upload. I was like, it's not even gonna end in me getting the achievement, so I'll just record the part where I reach Donu and Deka and I don't have feed, right? And so all of that is to say, occasionally you're gonna hear me sighing or like exhaling loudly, which again, you'd probably do the same if you if you had to do this achievement, or if you've done this achievement, you've probably had a similar experience. Okay, so this is an annoying fight, just because these Thorns enemies are very awkward to deal with. Inflame and Limit Break again showed up at the wrong time. So Dropkick is free. So I'm like, let me even defend. So bash that guy. Sorry, I dropkick that guy, kill him, draw another dropkick. Then I bash this guy. Dropkick, and now Limit Break is kind of useful. But now these guys are gaining lots of thorns. And this is not fun because by attacking both of them, I'm gonna take double thorns damage. So I'm like, let me just kill one of them. Let's see if I can get through this fight, avoiding as much damage as I can. Limit Break is good, because the fewer hits you can get away with taking, the better. And now this guy, he's pretty annoying, but he's not doing damage to us yet. But if we use our defense... So I guess it was a good idea that we kept our defense in the deck. Especially for fights like this. And a second Thunderclap has to be the pick. Wait, did I just not take that? I feel like that was a bad mistake. I feel like you've got to take a second Thunderclap if you're doing a double dropkick strategy. Maybe I had some delusion in my mind about going infinite. And maybe that's why I didn't take it. But this deep into Act 3, with only 159 gold, I should have probably given up on that whole dream of going infinite. Really. The Limit Break, one of these dropkicks is free. Which gives me even more energy that I cannot use because Rage just was useless. Okay, what do I do now? Because I could draw a Limit Break, which I did. And this is a good amount of damage that's gonna be done. Do that, and then just a bash and thunderclap, and he survives with 3 health, and we kill him with bash. Blood potion is actually pretty decent. I still don't take another thunderclap. What am I thinking? What was I thinking? If anybody is watching, and like anybody who knows how to play the Ironclad, Like, is there... Was I... Because I genuinely don't remember what I was doing. Is there some logic to not picking up Thunderclaps? Especially because Donu and Deka start with debuff resistance? Like, have I just given up on this run? Or is there... Or does it make sense to not pick up those Thunderclaps? I don't know, man. I have no idea what I'm thinking. The double dropkick is great, but we play Rage first to finally get some value out of that, and then we got a limit break. And then you just bash and you shield. And now we should be fine, because we limit break. And we thunderclap. And he should be dead imminently. Because, yeah, double dropkick with this much strength is gonna kill anybody. Okay. Alright. Let's keep on going. All we can do is rest, but I guess it's helping us stay high on our health. Stay topped up on our health. And Purity is actually a very decent pickup. If I was that worried about wanting to go infinite, I should have picked up Purity. So I don't know. I genuinely don't know what I'm thinking. I think what I'm thinking is that I've given up on this run. Oh, maybe I'm thinking that I won't be able to upgrade Purity, and with only 3 discards, I cannot guarantee the infinite. And maybe I'm thinking that I'll be able to do something else with my money later on. I'm just trying to, like, steel man my very questionable decision making. Alright, you got a dropkick. Draw another dropkick, which is very lucky. And then you gotta just, I guess, play out the rest of your hand. Gonna be avoiding damage for this turn, so not a bad turn. And I've brought their health down evenly, because with these guys, you really want to kill them all within 2 turns of each other. Otherwise, they will start coming back. Nice lightning, thunderclap there. Let's kill that guy. Take a bit of damage, but we'll then be able to kill these guys with a couple of nice drop kicks. I should add though, no feed, by the way. So right now this is, for all intents and purposes, just a normal Ascension 1 run. No achievements. You're just going through and being like, okay, yeah, you know what? I guess I'll play this run. Once again, we are at full health because all we can do at our rest sites is heal. And there's another dropkick, which surely has to be what you buy, right? Am I blind? Am I just stupid? Like, what time of day was it when I was recording? It must have been really late at night, because I assure you, normally when I play this game, I'm not this dumb. I failed to pick up upgraded Thunderclap. I removed a defend from my deck, which is fine. What am I doing? Okay, so right, now I remember. I picked up Enlightenment, and the reason I picked up Enlightenment was because I misread the description. I thought it brought your. And I don't know why I would think this because obviously a card like this would never exist. But I thought it brought the cost down to zero. No, because I was looking at the card's cost and then not really reading the actual text on the card. It brings cost down to 1. Oh my god. What am I? What a horrible decision that was. So not only did I not take dropkick, not only like the third dropkick, not only did I not take the third dropkick, not only did I not take thunderclap, and you know the steel man for that was maybe he's trying to go infinite, right? But then I added this other card to my deck. The only thing the card can possibly do is reduce the cost of bash from 2 down to 1 at the cost of playing a 1 cost card. So you're not even gaining any energy. So what a man, I'm actually getting angry. I'm actually getting angry watching myself. Like what is So, like, I think I realized pretty quickly that enlightenment was a mistake, but I'm stuck with it because if you buy it, but before you move on to the next part of the map, right? The next floor, the next zone. If you quit to main menu and you come back, it'll put you back at the beginning before you did anything at the shop. So if you accidentally buy something, you can fix your mistake that way. But I only realized it when I was in the next combat, and at that point you cannot go back, and at that point it's too late, right? And now I'm realizing, yeah, this enlightenment it's basically like I've added a curse into my deck, right? It's a card that I basically cannot play, and it's just a... Okay, no. Enlightenment costs 0, so it doesn't cost energy, but it does take up space in your deck. So maybe I was slandering it a little bit by saying that it was not that it was energy neutral. No, it's always either energy neutral or energy positive because it costs 0. But the fact that it's taking up space in my deck and messing up my draw, like, and showing up in place of actual useful cards is a horrible mistake of my own making, right? So I had to restart this fight a couple times because I completely didn't I completely didn't remember what the pattern is even like with this guy. So every turn, these daggers are going to try and attack you. They'll start out with a low damage attack, then they'll graduate to, you know, huge hits, and they will also add wounds into your deck. So I have 1 wound in my deck, but yeah, see. Enlightenment showed up in place of something that could have actually done something for me. And as a result, we're taking a huge hit. Again, Enlightenment shows up in place of something that could have been useful. Yeah, I've basically added a curse into my deck. I found a way to curse myself even without being cursed. That's how talented I am at finding ways to screw up in this game. But we do get the double dropkick. An ornamental fan is actually a nice pickup. One thing I should also add, no feed, by the way. We're almost at the end of the whole run. There's only 1 fight left. No feed. There's only 1 fight left, no feed, and this last fight ends up being against the big giant head. And at the end of this fight, the post-commentary will end. The real, live commentary will begin. But I'll commentate because this fight goes on for a while, so I'll talk you through what's going on. So this fight, his whole gimmick is if you don't kill him within the first several turns, eventually he just starts doing massive hits with hugely ramping damage. So the quicker, with almost any enemy, the quicker you kill them, the better. But with this guy, there's extra urgency to kill him as quickly as you possibly can. And once again, Enlightenment proving to be a liability. Alright, we do get the double dropkick. I get Rage on a turn where he's not even attacking. I don't know why I even bothered playing. I don't know why I even bothered playing it. Alright. Limit Break is nice. Enlightenment again shows up to torment us in place of something that could have been useful. And it's always nice to see the double dropkick. And at this point, well, I'll go on a little bit further. Okay, pretty soon the fight is gonna end and the live commentary is gonna begin, so I'm gonna stop talking now. Oh my god. Ooh. Jeez. Okay. Alright. So, this is gonna be, difficult. They have, I shouldn't have picked up Enlightenment. That was a bit of a waste. So, I don't quite have the infinite. I've got the double drop kick, but I just don't have a small enough deck. Yeah, the dazes are not really helping either. Rage. Limit Break with 1 strength, I guess. What we'll do is, it's really only Donu that we need to kill with the feed in hand. I guess I'll play the Limit Break just to gain 1 more strength. Okay, can we do this? We have a little bit of a tiny bit of healing via the blood potion. Alright, so now you are vulnerable. I'll gain strength. Feed is now free. Alright. That's not what I wanted, really. I'll drop kick. That's also not what I wanted, but I'll pop the blood potion if it comes down to it. We're about to take 26 damage. We can heal about 22 health. Alright. Okay. The dazes are really bad, actually. Now we're about to not quite die, but it's pretty bad. We have 16 strength. What? A lot a whole hell of a lot depends on what this dropkick draws. We sort of need to draw another dropkick, or at the very least, a thunderclap or something. Or... oh god, I fucked myself by picking up this enlightenment. I fucked myself badly. Oh no. Oh, and we're dead this turn. Basically. We do have one dropkick, but there's not a lot we can do. 38 damage. We might be able to get one more turn out of this, but then we're not gonna have feed. So I have to just heal right now, I guess. So how do we want to do this? I guess rage, because we need to somehow survive one more turn. And then maybe... so how much damage is feed doing? I don't want to accidentally play it. It does 39 damage. We'll be... close. Yeah, if I hadn't picked up that colorless card, we could have maybe had a really good chance. Because now all we're drawing is a defend. Oh god, yeah. Yeah. Well, if we draw the feed next turn... we did draw feed next turn. We can raise our... double our strength, in fact. I think we might just barely have it. So 63 damage, we need to dropkick first. I think we just barely have this. Oh my god. Okay, let's be intelligent about this. This is not gonna kill him. This is gonna kill him. Okay, wow. Well, we're gonna die, but that's fine, right? We winning the run wasn't the point. Winning the run was not the point. I mean, I guess I'll play this. I guess I'll throw this potion. I guess I'll go down swinging. But winning the run was not the point. The point was just getting this dang old achievement out of the way. And because I thought this was going to be another failed run, I didn't do commentary on it. So I'll I guess I'll do post-commentary, and then I'll stop at the point where I'm about to... when I find the feed on literally the last possible moment. And then still the fight nearly gets thrown because of my horrible decision to pick up that... I don't even know why I picked it up. I think I misread it, thinking that it reduced all of the costs to 0. No, it only reduces the costs to 1, so the only card it was even applying to was Bash. That was a horrible mistake. Without that, we could have probably... without that, we could have probably just won the fight outright. Not that we needed to win, but it would have been a lot less scary, a lot less stressful. Anyway... just here to show you that we got this achievement, and now I guess I'll get the neon achievement, but that's gonna be really easy. All you have to do is you basically just go infinite as the defect. Admittedly, it's unlikely, but it's much more likely than this whole situation. Uh, but yeah, feeling pretty good about this. It took me several hours, actually, of attempting this. Most of the runs. This is the first time I've even seen Donu and Deka while attempting this. On three separate occasions, I got feed and got to the last floor, and then it just wasn't. They just weren't there, right? But but it's finally done, and these little dinky challenge achievements are almost done. And I will do Plasma. Even though Plasma is the kind of thing you will just normally get, like just playing as the defect. Because eventually, you know, when you're doing higher ascensions, you will get to the point where like, okay, the only way I can win is if I'm infinite, and then you pick it up, and then you just get it. Well, I guess you might not get it because you would never need to channel 9 plasma in a single run. So you would only, like, you never need that much energy. You just be channeling enough plasma to play your damage dealing cards, and then, you know, moving on to the next turn. I guess if you had a like cool-headed and you're trying to do a like a you're trying to pile on damage on that one card that does a lot of damage based on the number of times you do all of that. Yeah, I mean, I guess it could happen, but we'll see. We'll see. That is a problem for future me. For now, I just gotta end this episode. I gotta take a long break, and then eventually I've gotta come back and do post commentary. So my my torment hasn't quite ended. There's a little bit more, but it will be enjoyable doing post commentary while we are while we know that the achievement has already been attained, right? So having done that, or having said that I'll do that, I will go off now, and I'll see you for the next episode when we're gonna try to get that defect achievement. And until then, take care.